Let's do another version of the model of comparative advantage with some numbers and go through the whole approach and solution to the model. And let's suppose that we have Argentina and Brazil as our two countries, and we have meat and soy as our two products. Let's suppose that Argentina's output per worker, output per hour is 4 meat and 8 soy, and Brazil is 5 meat and 16 soy. And let's suppose that they have the labor available is 50 for Argentina and 100 for Brazil. So the first thing we do is look at the table, and we notice that Brazil is more productive in meat and more productive in soy. So Brazil has absolute advantage in both of them. Brazil has absolute advantage in meat, and Brazil has absolute advantage in soy. It's more productive. One worker produces 16 soy, and in Argentina one worker produces 8 soy. In Brazil, one worker produces 5 meat, in Argentina 4. So Brazil has absolute advantage. Now we want to take a look at the comparative advantage, and we see that Brazil is twice as good at making soy as Argentina, and better, but not much, at producing meat. So since Brazil is relatively better at producing soy, we can immediately see that Brazil has comparative advantage in soy. So it has comparative advantage in soy. And knowing that intuition is helpful because we'll be able to make sure then that the pre-trade price ratio of soy should be low in Brazil relative to Argentina. So that's the important thing to remember. The pre-trade price ratio of soy to meat should be low in Brazil compared with Argentina. That's the reason for doing this intuition of the comparative advantage beforehand. Let's go and draw the this is going to take too long to erase all these things. I want to have a nice clean table there. Yep. So let's go ahead and draw the production possibility frontiers, and we can draw them on the next slide. So for Argentina, we have, if all the labor is used in meat production, then we have 50 times 4 is 200 meat production, and if all the labor is in soy, we have 50 times 8, which is 400. So Argentina's production possibility frontier looks like that. For Brazil, we have, if all the labor is used to make meat, we have 500, and if all the labor is used to make soy, we have 1600. So notice I'm not drawing these on the same scale, and that's one of the reasons why in class I said it's not a good idea to draw the two of them together, because often you'll be drawing the two countries might be very different sizes, and so they'll have very different scales. So if you draw them on the same graph, you end up having to redraw, or you end up having to draw really big graphs so that you can show the small country and the big country. So I think it's better just to draw them separately. So remember what the slope of these are the ppf, right? And the slope of the ppf is how much meat you get for 1 unit of soy, right? It's the rise over the run, and the run is 1 unit. The rise then is what the slope is, and it's pretty clear here it's about 1/3, and it's clear here that it's 1/2, right? The slope here is 1/2. So we have differences in the slope. Now, how much meat you get for 1 unit of soy, we can ask, well, what does that correspond to in the pre-trade price ratio? So that's PS over PM, the price of soy over price of meat. So remember our little story we told, you go to the market, you sell 1 unit of soy, you get the price of soy, let's say it's $10, and then with that $10 you can go and get some meat. So if you were in Argentina, meat would cost $20 and you get a half a unit of meat. You sold the soy for 10 and the meat was 20. So you get half a unit of meat for 1 soy. In Argentina, PS over PM, according to the production possibility frontier, is going to be equal to, if the price of soy were 10, then the price of meat would be 30 times as much, roughly, right? I'm just approximating here, because it's 1/3. So for the 1 unit of soy, you sell it for $10, and since meat costs $30, you can only get 1/3 of a unit of meat. So that's the intuition about the prices. Now let's go on to formally define the prices. So we know that in Argentina, the price of meat times the marginal product of labor in the meat sector has to be equal to the price of soy times the marginal product of labor in the soy sector. The price of meat is what we're looking for. The marginal product of labor in the meat sector is 4, so we have 4 equals the price of soy times the marginal product of labor in the soy sector in Argentina, which is 8. So now we have PS over PM equals 4 over 8. Right? I divided by 8 and I divided by PM, and that's why I get this price ratio. So this is the price ratio that I derived from my equilibrium condition in the labor market. Right? So we're talking about the labor market. We said that the wages have to be equal. So I derived that. For Brazil, likewise, I can derive it, and PM times MPL, M equals PS times MPL, S. So we're going to have P S over PM equals 5 over 16, about 1/3. So we already saw how that works. So now we can see, right, as we said earlier, that the price of soy is indeed lower than in Brazil relative to meat than in Argentina, right? So soy is cheaper in Brazil. So Brazil is going to export soy to Argentina, and Argentina is going to export meat to Brazil. That's the pattern of trade that will emerge. We can then find the world prices, right? So we have PS over PM in the world, when they open up for trade, has to be between 4/8 and 5/16. So roughly between 1/3 and 1/2. So that's 2/6 and 3/6, or it could be like 2.56, right? Would be a world price that would lie in between this range. Now you can go and show on the graphs of the PPF what would happen in each country. In Argentina, you had a slope of 2, you had 400 and 800. Sorry, a slope of minus 1/2. So now we're going to have a slope of minus 2.5 over 6, and I'm running out of time here in this video, so I'm going to have to shut it down now because it won't load to YouTube, and we'll come back to it later. Or maybe I'll leave it as an exercise for you to figure out what the trading line is going to look like, and then showing that there are gains from trade.